Florist and Bridal. Today we will go ahead and create another bridal bouquet. She asked for, some greenery, so we got some Dusty Miller Seeded Eucalyptus here. A mixture of cream and blush roses, so we have some really nice garden ones here. Okay. And then we also have, of course, our lavenders. Okay, we got our cool water roses and some lilac stock here, as well as some hydrangeas that we're going to be using. Most likely I'm going to be using our white here, which are pretty small today. Let's see. So I'm just pulling these out so that we can work with it. Okay. So here we do have, we're going to go ahead and pull out all the leaves because we don't want those leaves in there. Hydrangea leaves are not too attractive. Okay, so before we do that, I'm just going to grab our Clear Life to kind of seal in the hydrangeas. So those hydrangeas are called hydrangeas for a reason, because they need to hydrate a lot of water. So wedding bouquets, when you're doing pictures and everything, there's no water to the flowers because this is a handheld bouquet. And this one that we're making is going to be a handheld round bouquet. So with that in mind here, I'm just gonna cut that a little shorter. We are going to go ahead and use that hydrangea as a base along with our Dusty Miller. Dusty Miller is really pretty for winter bouquets. It has that nice soft gray tone there. Really pretty. Okay. Alrighty. I'm just gonna cut these down to size for a little bit. So here, just gonna nestle it in. I want to make sure I have a stem that's long enough that's going to hit the bottom of the vase later. Dusty Miller, like hydrangeas, can I want to say wilt really quickly, just because they do require a lot more water to drink, unlike some other foliage such as Seeded Euc, which is very sturdy without water, or pretty much looks the same when they're dry. With hydrangeas, when they are dry, they are going to, when they're dehydrated, not enough water, they will start wilting. It's been a while since we created some bouquets, so this is pretty exciting. So what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of nestling the Seeded Euc in between my hydrangea, and I'm going to be adding our Dusty Miller along the way as well. Again, I want to make sure my Dusty Miller's kind of nestled in between my hydrangeas, because I don't want just a big blob of hydrangeas. I want to be able to distribute it evenly. Broke off. I'm going to break that one off. Okay. I might just leave these two off to the side so that I can probably add them in later to even out everything. But I think I'm going to add just a little bit more, eucalyptus around the rim here. Too much, because I can tuck some more in afterwards, but just enough to have more of that round effect over there. Okay, so if you watch my previous videos, it is important, if you can, to have a mirror in front of you. That way you can kind of see how it looks as the bride is holding it, and as you go, that it is an even round shape for you. So here I'm just going to grab a little bit of Oasis tape, just waterproof tape, and I'm going to tape my bouquet together, since I don't want to hold on to it so tightly. just so that it's enough to hold it for a little bit, and then I can kind of free my hand to loosen it up a bit and tuck the euc so that it's all kind of evenly distributed there. It's not totally round yet, but as we add the other flowers to it, it will. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my lavenders in first. These are nice cool water roses. They get really, really full and nice, so it will complement the garden roses. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to try to even it out as best I could. So as I'm adding flowers, same like when I was adding the greenery, everything, we're going sideways, okay? So if you're right-handed like me, I hold my bouquet on my left hand and I add flowers on my right hand. And I'm just going to go sideways in and hold the stem, okay? So if you see it this way here, I'm going this way. So I'm going into my left side with my right hand, so angled, and then your stem should be angled this way there, okay? We don't want to go straight, okay? Because if we did this and went straight, the heads would most likely pop right off later on, and you're not going to have that nice round effect there. So I'm going to focus a little bit on the sides. We don't need any of these greenery. So you saw me pulling some leaves off of here because on the handle we don't need too much of that greenery going on there. So I'm just gonna even out this purple color here. Blowing on a little bit to open it up. If some of the petals on the top are bruised, then we just pull them right out. So we don't need them to be bruised. I'm looking a little sad. Okay, so here again, I'm angling my stems in. Let's see, so I usually like to add flowers in intervals of 5, especially if they're different colors. Right here, I'm just pulling the guard petals off. So I'm gonna go here 1, 2, 3, and most designers would go with an odd number just because it's more pleasing to the eye. So right now I have 4. I'm not going to add my last one yet. Like the way I put aside my Dusty Miller and my other cool water rose, it's so I can kind of figure out where I'm lacking later on to add it into it. Okay, let's see. So now I want to add in my stock. I have these really nice soft blush pink ones here. I'm pulling down the bottom because we don't really need those and they tend to get smashed. And stock smells really pretty. It has a very, very soft scent. So again, I'm just kind of gonna eyeball where I think it would look the best. And then again, I'm going in as in an angle. A lot of times the stock on the bottom, they don't look too attractive. They do tend to get smashed in an arrangement. So here I have 5 pieces of stock. 2 of them will be the blush, and then the other, let's see, I think I like it. The other 3 I have are lilacs there. So really pretty lilac there. So it's just gonna eyeball and see where I'm kind of lacking. Go from there. I think I might want to put something on the top there. Oops, kind of lost this one. I'm gonna put this one back later, so just gonna tuck it in there. Now I don't want all my flowers to be the same exact level, so I'm going to continue adjusting. So some will go in more and some will go up more. Okay, so this is what we have so far without any of the blush. And again, you can see in my hand here that all the stems are in an angle. And I'm just going to cut a little bit off since it's in my way and a little bit too long for me. And at this point I can tie it a little bit if I want, but I don't want to really do that right now because I want to be able to continue adjusting. Okay, look how pretty that is already. So I'm going to add my, I want to say, let's do our white clouds. And these are Dave Austin roses. They're really pretty and smell so nice. Okay, so I'm just going to, they're not up that full bloom potential yet. They will hopefully by tomorrow, but we try to get them to open up as best we could. Let's see, oops, sorry there, it happens. Drop that there. Okay, so I'm just gonna tuck that one in there. Okay, and as even if I'm tucking them in, I'm putting in and sliding it in as an angle. Okay, the stems don't go in straight. So I'm just pulling out all the guard petals or any petals that's been bruised. Okay, look how pretty that is. Okay, so let's see. I think I want to do, I have 3 different types of garden roses here. I'm going to put 3 of each kind. Okay, we don't want to overwhelm the bouquet, but we want it to have a nice distribution. And I want to pick and choose the nicer open ones. Okay. So I think this one will go nicely here. Just again pulling out the ones that are a little bruised. Okay, so next one here we have, oops, our white clouds. So these are really pretty too. They just open up in a different manner, that's all. Okay. A little bit different than that. So that adds that textural look to it. Okay, so let's see. Just kind of trying to see where it would look the best. I think I'm having a big spot here, so I'm gonna add it there. As you can see, our hydrangeas are kind of disappearing, which is fine. It's acting here more as a grid than anything. And that's not going to be they're not the focal flowers. Okay, see, isn't that a nice blush there? It just has this very nice soft champagne color look. Most white flowers are not going to be your typical all white paper white. So it's either going to have a little cream tint or it's going to have a little, I want to say, greenish tint or even a soft pink tint. So that's what we have here going on. So okay, I'm gonna go add one more and then we'll blend in the blush in there just to give it this little hint of color. Okay, so I do feel like I got too much of a lavender there, so I'm going to, see, this is why I didn't tape it down, because I do make adjustments as we go. So it's really important that the color is distributed nicely there. And I might just put one more lavender here later, but I'm going to go ahead and do my blush first. Okay. And I want to say these are Miyuki or Princess blush. Look how pretty that is. And it smells so wonderful. Okay. There's a lot of different varieties of the garden roses and just roses in general. So if I get the name wrong, I'm sorry and I apologize. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Okay. So that goes there. I think I might add my last lavender on the side here. That way it's kind of holding up some of that greenery there. Okay, because we want to make sure our color distribution is there. So if I'm looking at this here, kind of want a blush here and maybe one here. So again, we're doing the 3, and I'm going to look for one that when it comes to making bridal bouquets, there isn't going to be your exact recipe sheet, just because we have to build it according not only to size, but overall look for the bride. So this is why bridal bouquets would run you a little bit more than your typical centerpieces or even bridesmaids bouquets, just because the bridal bouquet would need to have the utmost perfect flowers, as well as flowers like such as for your cake too. So here we go. I don't have a mirror, but I'm doing my best trying to figure out and see if it's round. But after this, I'm going to definitely put it down and take a look. So if you did a hand tie correctly, your bouquet should be able to sit on its own. So I'll show you that later, and then we can view that and go over that and see if it looks what we want it to look. So right now we're making this is a 12-inch diameter, and I conveniently have this here so I can figure out, yep, and we're pretty on par on that sizing on that. So right now, since I'm just holding it with my hand, I'm just going to adjust as we go. So tuck some in, lift some out, and just want to see if the color distribution is nice enough for me here. I might put one more garden rose there, but I might not do blush. I might go ahead and do one of these clouds. Let's see, this one has a nice spiral. Let's just shave some of these thorns off, because we don't want anyone getting poked. Okay, I think we pretty much got this now. Hi. Back here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 of those. So at this point, I mean, I'm pretty happy with how full it is and the color and texture distribution. So, but I'm not done, but I'm going to go ahead and tape this down a little bit just because it's getting a little full in my hands. And so we're going to use the same Oasis tape, but this time I'm going to use my finger here, hold on to it, and we're going to wrap this around backwards, okay? Yes, backwards. Let's see that you got stuck there. Okay, just because I don't want it to stay put, I just want to secure it. And I usually, if you've seen me do my other wedding bouquets, I do tape it backwards just because that way we can adjust the ribbons on it later as well. But this way my hands are a little free here and I can adjust, open it up a little bit, because these roses will continue to open and you want to make sure there's enough room for them to eventually open up. And this way I get to take a look at it a little bit more to see if I need to pull this one here. And this one seems a little weak, so I'm actually going to take that off there. I'll probably use that one for the boutonniere since it broke. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and find another one. Okay, this one. Okay. Put it back to where that spot that was missing earlier. And for now, I'm going to add, so I have some Dusty Miller. I'm just going to go around and see where I'm missing some, if there's any gaps going on. I think I might actually use this bigger piece. Another spot. Use this one here. Okay. And again, I'm just going around evening it out. Garden rose again is a little weak on the weak, so I'm going to add some Seeded Euc. Just lay it across. Again, you're going angled, okay? So you can give it a little more support to hold up the stems. Again, so as far as evening it out on the edges, I think I got them to where I kind of like it, so I'm just gonna tape this a little bit again, just so I can get a more visual here. And I'm going to look from the top down. Before I do that, just move this over a little bit here. I'm going to try to get an even cut. Okay, now let's see if our bouquet stands. Voila! Just spin it around a little bit. Okay, so once I'm satisfied on bouquet, I'm just going to go once over backwards again with my tape, and I want to say I'm going to go about 3 inches down. I want to leave about 1 inch of stem, 1.5 inches or so exposed. And again, I'm just going to check and make sure it's evenly cut. So we're going to wrap the satin ribbon from the top there a little bit over the tape area. Leave about 1.5 inch of excuse me, of ribbon. So want to make sure it's flat and that'll stay. So here I have Clear Light. So again, it just helps seals in the flower. I'm going to give it a little bit of a spray to help extend its life. There. Give it a last bit of an adjustment, just because once we tie this, wrap this up with the ribbon, we don't want to have to take it apart to make any other changes. So I'm going to make sure that it is what I like for the bride. And at this point, you also want to kind of check where you want your front to be, just because that's where the bride is going to be holding it towards the camera. So I think I want to adjust this a little bit here. So when I find my front, that's where I'm going to be. So if I like this, so this is my front, so I like that part, which means I'm going to be putting my pins on the other side. So I usually put the pins on the back side of the bouquet, which is towards the bride. So that's kind of the cue. And I would also start my ribbon on the back side of the bouquet. So this is my front, this is my back here. So I'm going to start from the back and then go around, and as I go wrap around, I'm going diagonally about 1/2 inch, so the ribbons overlap as they go down. of that ribbon. So I'm going to go down. Let's see if I have to cut it. So again, let's see, where was my front? This was my front, so this is my back, which is perfect, it works out. So I'm just gonna fold this in, just like that. Okay, fold it in. And I'm going to use about 3 pins going upwards. 3 of the corsage pins. Okay. It's a little tough from all the taping and the stems. So just make sure it goes up sideways. That way it's not poking through and then poking the bride. We don't want any bloody hands getting pinched. It is pretty tough getting the pins in, so just be careful. Okay, so here I got 3 pins, 1, 2, 3, and this would be the back side of my bouquet, and then this would be my front side. So always instruct the bride to hold the pearl pins towards them. So again, I'm just going to give it a final cut. And even at this point with the stems bounded like that, your bouquet should stand. Okay, there you go. So at that point, you can, put it on the floor, and that's what I generally like to do, and take a little at it once more from the top down, so that you want to make sure that everything is pretty even. Okay, but that's it. That's your bouquet here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.